we have just brought back, or are bringing back, Vox, also known as Phyllis Douglass, and she's living it. For any of you that don't know Vox, she's of course been on the show many times before, but she is the voice of the angel of God. Um, she's an Elohim of the eternal realms, of Seraphim lineage, a source-born architect, and creator God beyond the 12th dimension. God, and I thought I was just like, I just feel like I'm Capricorn Sun, Taurus, Moon. It's not amazing. And you're going to feel it in a moment as you hear her speak and you hear her channel. You're going to get that she really is all these extraordinary things. She is a holder of the original divine blueprint. And so she carries the codes of sacred order, sound geometry, and multiversal design. From beyond form and time, she emanates as a founding intelligence, creating, encoding, and architecting the oversoul structures of galaxies, universes, and the living matrix of creation itself. So I really encourage you, especially when she goes into the transmission, to just stop everything else you're doing, close your eyes, and take it in, because it's very, very powerful. And she's also a really cool human being, by the way. So welcome back to the awakening world, Vox.
Oh, thank you, Scott. They made me do it. I'm just little old me.
Well, you're pretty wonderful. What, so what does little old me do when the challenges of life come your way?
You know, I was just really talking. I was talking to friends about this the other day, and Elohim chimed in as well. And you struggle with that because you're looking at what's happening in the world, and then it's often I'm like, well, I can't really do anything about that. And so what Elohim had told me at that time was that, well, if there is something that your medicine, your magic can be of greater benefit to, then we will let you know what that is. And so the key thing for me is about really to, in those times and really at all times, is about learning to express my creativity. And it's really about like stimulating your intuition, your imagination, and to kind of reawaken that childlike curiosity that many of us haven't seen, for a while. And that childlike curiosity, when we can really tap into that and bring it forward, there are no limitations, there are no boundaries. And so when we can become creative, I feel that it really connects us to our I am presence, our higher self, and also begins to align us with the gifts that we brought into this world. What I call our personal medicine and magic. And so those gifts that we brought into this incarnation with us, what Elohim was telling me a while ago, because I do a number of things, but it took me a long time to actually do them for myself. And I speak to a lot of people that experience this. And I'm like, oh, like that didn't really pop into my head. So I started to do what I do for other people for myself, and it was truly magical. And so what I understood from that is we are given these gifts first and foremost for self. It's first for us to kind of go through our self-realization, awakening, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it. But then once we experience that, then we can begin to share it with the rest of the world. And those are the gifts that we can bring out into the world to begin to create change. But that change begins with us.
Mhm.
And so it's not about looking outside and just like all the time, but it's really about going deeper inside, because that we are all interconnected. We are all one in that energetically and so forth. So if we can begin to change ourselves and begin to emanate that true will out into the world and to utilize our gifts, then we begin to create change within others first that surround us and then beyond.
Mm, beautiful. Thank you.
But
Thank you.
oh, and I'm going to say there was a phrase. I have to say this because I thought it was so profound when they said it. I had a session with a client, and we were kind of talking about this, and she was talking about she was doing a retreat, and I said, "Well, okay, what are you doing in the retreat?" One of the things was she was teaching women that they were going to go back and they were going to heal their wounds so that they could be whole and complete and so forth and step out into the world. Elohim said, "You are not wounded. You, dear ones, are experienced."
Mm,
And I just thought that was the most, I mean, we were speechless for a moment. I thought that was just the most profound statement. It knocked me for a loop. It really did, because I just hadn't really thought of it in that way. So I just wanted to share that statement with everyone. It's really something to think about. Oh, can you repeat that? Yes. They said, "You are not wounded, dear ones. You are just experienced."
mm. I totally agree with that. I make my living as a relationship coach, as a love coach. And when people ask me what's the difference between love coaching and traditional therapy, in traditional therapy, people have spent many years learning how to diagnose and evaluate what's wrong with people. And I understand there's purpose in that. But I truly believe there's nothing wrong with anyone. But we do have very significant challenges that are part of the blueprint of our life, what we're learning to do. We're learning to love ourselves, even though I'm autistic. I'm learning to love myself, even though I have to manage my anger or whatever it may be. By the way, speaking of anger management, I agree with what you said there, Dr. Laura. Anger is not bad. It needs to be managed, but it's part of the human experience. So anyway, a big yes to what you just said, Vox. Would you be willing to do a transmission for us?
Yes, most definitely.
And I think I will. I'm going to keep the spotlight just on you. A reminder, because of course Desiree is wonderful. Most people are saying how much they love what she contributes. I know a couple people have mentioned that it can be distracting. One thing also, people, you can always, as Zoom room members, you can pin multiple people. That's not what the audience will see. I've got the power of what the audience sees, but you can pin Desiree and Vox, for example, if you want to see both. So that's a wonderful way to start utilizing the blessings of Desiree. And Vox, thank you so much for being with us. And a reminder, everybody, close your eyes, drop in, and enjoy this experience.
Just sit back and relax and breathe.
denie mendorendo sondro cirie mingorun donderie sirie non de chondarie andore turumbe mariana yamare kirie chandare cindere surondor andere kurum ande siriantare tur andere kur samondre siriare turam pongo cieron andere on borore mondore C'era che io tundere spera pa caccia c'è un butuire qui c'era che ci tundere per ora no c'era ma da fare no mi chiede perché c'è un desce andare c'era che ci fu tundere spira ya con tundere per ora Here come the ancient ones. Ingerin tondo sunguri peceri inderi motunderi andare kere matachandere tundere kere ambare cere jantando condecere ambokore hira ambagande berkine cirin tururu kere ambare kere antire hunduru trere ambare kere tore cinde tirare andare dando guru tore rendere andare kore singere tura bayahanda amma hende girerendore kundre sika kujanta shari tukutu kunde sapaire kutukunde sakatu pikatundre pikatundre kutinde kiri spatcha sakatundre spika patutu tukun pachaketere kututukun Elevation to the spiritual DNA. Kultura. Sepe etu kunders bi or kishintere. Tatjaka or kuchun. Shukura ba a. Shuku ebera. Chibera tor. Irka chuku yer spirina macera che chuku tunders ba yer gaia ba tutira. Si pikiri minimama ka uro kuchundu jiber kirira batakutun. Si pere kaira ta kundres bi a tukur bi shudun. Si pirime ka utu kuri sandi e chukundu chukukura. Peri ba ki cendere ki chukundres biria era ku ushukura batakundu. Shantata kacere ki bira kutu shunguche. Releasing all influences from the past that are not of a positive nature. Bring all in alignment with future unlimited potentiality. Ha, ci pai tu cuce per ire sapatu tingere se pereke atu kutuye si piara kutu kunduru kucho ashura pacinja fuko era tundra spiritu. Perikis butu kuinja bairisa papa kachutundra spiritu tuku. Na hair bakisha poeta tanda nadiere kisuku. Mbe kai tusa kai jaba tuku ora. Hashaka ema endu tutundu de beke kuskun. Jibae kakatundu tundu kuku shebe tira. Hamba chere tun. May we speak? Yes. We have watched humanity for millennia. Of course, you were not in the form that you presently are. This form that you have chosen to incarnate in. But we have watched the world called Earth evolve. We have been assisting the process from afar. To core. You do not know the true immensity and power that you hold within your infinite selves. You are eternal. You are not this body. This body is a vehicle of godlike expression, where the God force works as and through this physical body. When you make the decision that you are not going to live by personal egoic will, then you can exist from God's will, and God's will is truly your own, to bring heaven to earth. This one was not expecting us to come through in this way to share this message. You have the power within your own expression and acknowledgement of truth that you are the infinite God force within physical form. You have the power, which is your birthright, to live from a simple perspective and the truth of love. All is love. That is the true and creative essence which exists within you, and which you are, and which each and every one of you are, and all of creation that is in existence. We realize we are running out of time. We want you to begin to honor the truth of who it is that you are within this beautiful vehicle of flesh and bone that is allowing you to experience a physical life. To bring the awakening consciousness of the I am presence, the higher essence, the higher self, down to the earth plane. When one rises in truth and love, all have the potential to rise. When one honors the truth of who it is that they are, and they emanate that truth, and they allow it to shine, to radiate out into the world, they begin to create change that extends out into the world. Those closest to you begin to change. Those closest to those individuals begin to change. And so on, and so on, and so on, out into the world. So that that higher level vibration then begins to create the changes amongst the lower vibrations that are attempting to hold their own in place. But they cannot. The rigging as we would utilize is coming loose. It is being shaken loose. And soon all will fall to rise again. Through the power of love, through the acceptance and acknowledgement that you are powerful, infinite beings. Of the presence of God. With this, we bid you adieu in peace. Te pieris tu cucire tu sere a caputo tundre, sere vatur. Okay, that was totally unexpected.
Yeah, I think this is the 6th or 7th time I've experienced you, and definitely that was a whole other something that I hadn't experienced with you before. Um,
Me too. No, no.
yeah, I mean, I'm wondering, like, what has that happened before, where that voice has come through?
Yes, in short, I had always known consciously, but kept pushing away it from when I was a little girl, that I'm actually Seraphim,
Mhm.
and like the whole story that goes behind that. And it was only literally a few months ago that I'm like, oh, fine, whatever, I surrender. Stop doing. Because what they were saying was, if you do not truly acknowledge who you are, you cannot be that. And that I couldn't bring the depth of the work forward and the connections that I needed to without fully surrendering and acknowledging that, which is why my bio changed, and that's just the truth of who I
Yeah.
am. So when I surrendered to that, everything began to evolve and fully, kind of scary, exciting but scary to me. Everything just started to expand and opened up into this much larger field of consciousness, like everything, really. And so it's even more that I'm not here, but I'm here.
Mhm.
So it's kind of living between two worlds. So I've been kind of trying to balance that. So mostly I'm kind of staying on that side, but I'm here so that because there's certain things as far as my mission is concerned that I have to bring in, because I'm here to assist humanity in essentially the human ascendancy, and also working with the planet. And I had done a whole channeling with Gaia, which is on my YouTube channel now, I believe. If it's not, I should put it there. I'll get it there if it's not there. But that she was saying, I can go with or without you, but I love you. And so it was like this. It's like kind of a whole thing. Um, so that's kind of where I'm at now. Yeah,
Well, I'm
that was
gonna
a lot of energy. Whoa, yeah.
so I'm gonna give you a chance to breathe, and then we're gonna go to your website. But there are literally about 15 comments from our audience, and I want to acknowledge our audience as they acknowledge you. So, Phyllis, I invite you to take in how you've touched our audience. Reverend DR writes, such a powerful activation. Dr. Laura writes, wow, this is extraordinary. Phyllis, your voice, your light language is like an entire choir of powerful Elohim. Absolutely heavenly. Kathy writes, I felt that transmission through my entire being, especially within my heart. I also felt energy moving in my head, and I released tears. So beautiful and powerful. Our new friend and brother, Liam Wilkinson from England, writes, wow, humbled and privileged to be present for your transmission, Vox Angelus. George Noble writes, change, more goddess channeling begets more God expression. Carol Craig, I'll get to Carol in a moment. Scotty writes, what a gift. Wow. Between Phyllis and Desiree, I am in bliss. So beautiful. George Noble writes, I hear that choir singing much of the time within me. And Carol Craig writes, wow, with a lot of emojis. Susan Bloom says, thank you. Kathy says that was one of the longest and strongest transmissions I've heard from Vox also. Katie writes, oh my God, amazing, thank you. Karen S. writes, otherworldly. Roger and Bonnie write, holy power. Reverend Diara, to be fully seen and Shoshana says that she just wrote a poem called Where Seraphim Sing. Well, Where Seraphim Sing is on the Awakening World, May 24th, 2025. Charlotte writes, such a powerful message delivered so exquisitely. Thank you, Vox. Carol Craig writes, simply magnificent. Desiree wrote, as you started, I felt a gift being given from the divine. Later, I felt the breaking open of the heart chakra. Huge healing, major upgrades. Thank you so much. And then a question from Dr. Laura. Vox, do you channel Elohim or Seraphim? And what the heck is the difference?
Well, I know Elohim, I'm of Elohim, and Elohim is actually a collective, and which is, I tell people to think of it as an umbrella. So at the umbrella is God the creator. God created everything underneath, that's protected underneath the umbrella. And so Elohim is actually a collective. So you have what is called God the creator. You have, which is like what you might call, biblically, whatever, it's like the throne. I'm within like a throne angel. But I'm also what's called a creator God. And so underneath that, actually, a lot of people believe that the archangels are actually throne angels, but they're not. They're actually at the bottom end, the lower end, closer to humanity, because they're the ones that are messengers and protectors and so forth, and they're the ones that help humanity. So they're actually at the bottom of the tier. So all of that is considered Elohim. So if you think about God created messengers and the architects. I'm known as an architect. I use sound and so forth and energy. But their hands has created hands or whatever to do what it is that needs to be done. And that's kind of the easiest way that I can explain it. Now, if you're looking in other religions, often they use the word Elohim in place of God. But if you go back to the old before things were like translated so many times, you'll see that Elohim is actually plural.
Wow.
But they kind of got rid of that somewhere along the line and made it just one God. But it's always been, from the old text, Elohim has always been a plural, as in gods, plural.
Okay.
So that's the best I can kind of explain that, yeah.
I'm wondering if maybe you can share with Ayada any advice. She says, I'm wondering what happened there. I'm feeling exhausted after listening to Vox. Her voice felt a bit overwhelming. First time I've had that experience. I always loved Vox's voice expressions, but wow, I feel like I need to go to bed now, perhaps some deep healing.
I moved you. Yeah, it's just moving. It's just energy moving. So, take care of yourself and just allow it to move and breathe and maybe do some movement to kind of allow things to flow through. But you've been shifted. And so in that shift, it was a big shift. It was actually a big shift for me. Even like bringing it through, I could feel it. They wanted to come in and share that with this community. So it was kind of a higher level thing. So you may definitely experience different things happening. I'm not going to say not repercussions. That's not what I mean. I can't think of the word right now. But you're going to have different shifts, energetic shifts, and things that are happening. So that really isn't an unusual thing. So I would just drink lots of water and maybe do some breath work. Maybe take a nice bath, Epsom salt bath, and then get some rest. And just allow whatever process is underway to come to completion. Yeah.
And I think that's probably true for a lot of us. I know I felt it. Okay, well, what an amazing evening between Dr. John, and isn't it interesting that what Dr. John shared and what Vox shared are variations of the same message. It's really quite powerful. All right, we can find more of the voice of the angel at her website, and it's her earth name, her human name, phyllisdouglass.com. Notice that there are 2 L's in Phyllis and 2 S's at the end of Douglass, phyllisdouglass.com. And what would you like to make sure we know on your website? Is there anything you want to make sure our audience is especially aware of?
I have a number of events and so forth coming up. So if on my website, you just go under services. Yeah, everything's under services. If you click book a service and you scroll through, that's where all of my sessions and all of my events are presently going to be. And they'll also be reflected on the events page, but they're not right now because I'm looking for a new event things. So everything's here that I
All right.
offer.
Well, she has, and imagine getting personal light scroll retrieval and transmission work with her, soul frequency reading. She provides, I mean, the highest of the highest work. I strongly encourage people to work with Vox. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Scott. And thank you, everyone.